You're convinced we're connecting to the Gorman Front leadership?
I am, sir. Caro Rylance is a prominent businessman and politician in Palmo. I've been dealing with him directly.
And we're sure they're buying the story?
We're skeptically confident, sir.
Words to live by.
I think they're planning already. They're inexperienced, but very eager.
How often those attributes align?
They'll need help, sir. The plan, your plan, to bait Gorman as a prize for outside agitators needs to begin somewhere. This could be that moment.
How may we assist?
Transport schedules need to remain consistent. The information I pass them needs to be accurate.
I'll need oversight on military security.
Done?
If they pull it off, when it's over, we need to calibrate retribution carefully. We want them growing bolder. They need to see what winning feels like.
I'll make sure things don't get out of hand. Excellent work, Cyril.
Thank you, sir.
We'll keep you briefed.
If I say this is the greatest day of my life, does it spoil everything?
It's good to see you happy.
I'm gonna watch me some Andor, and podcast with Candor about this Star Wars show on Disney Plus. This is the second season, but it also is the last one. And Disney pulled the fast one, putting out 3 episodes at once. Yes, I am watching Andor and talking with Candor. It's what the Mandalorian man's for. That is my podcast show. This is the second season, but it also is the last one. It should lead right up to Rogue One, and we all know how that goes. This is a podcast on Andor called Andor with Candor, about that Star Wars show on Disney Plus. This is the second season, but it also is the last one. It should lead right up to Rogue One, and we all know how that goes.
May the 5th be with you. Happy Monday, Star Wars fans. I guess that only makes sense if it's Monday for you right now. It is Monday, May 5th, 2025, Cinco de Mayo, and I am back again, finally catching up on Season 2 of Andor. It's early in the morning on a kind of a gray and wet Massachusetts Monday morning, and I have time before work. So what do? I watch Star Wars, talk about Star Wars, podcast about Star Wars with you, my space friends. And this morning, I got one step closer to being fully caught up on Season 2 of Andor by watching Episode 5, I Have Friends Everywhere. I have friends everywhere. Isn't that a Southern... I was going to call it, isn't that a Southern song? I listen to... I so don't listen to country music that I called it Southern music. You listen to that Southern music? I have friends everywhere. Now, that is a line specifically said by Andor when he is heading out to go to Gorham, where he goes. He meets with some people. That's pretty much the gist of Andor. He is the star of the show, and yet he's just doing... I actually liked everything he did, but it's, again, we're in these 3 episode blocks where I feel like we're just setting up for something to happen, but it's going to happen in the next episode, I guess. So now he's gone to Gorham, where he is meeting with that Gorham front, and he's basically telling them, I don't think you're ready for this. Y'all ready for this? He says, no. And they're like, we are not impressed by you, Mr. Fashion designer, because he's there as a fashion designer. I actually enjoyed all of that. So he goes to I'm going to say a quote-unquote travel agent, a spy travel agent, someone who deals with forgeries and getting people fake papers. He becomes a fashion designer apprentice, I think, and his name is something something. It begins with a V or it ends with a V. There's a V in it. And he is basically going to Gorham because that is kind of a rite of passage for anyone who works in the fashion industry. It's funny, when you think of Star Wars, you don't think of all these industries. Obviously, someone's making the clothes, and you don't think of them having a morning show, but someone's having a morning show with 2 weird women. These are things that you don't think of day-to-day life in Spaceland, but it happens. Obviously, it's happened because I just saw it. He goes, let's stick with him, because none of these stories fully crisscross, make you jump. So he goes to Gorham. He checks into this really fancy hotel. He kind of connects with the I don't want to say bellboy. Is that what they're still called, bellboy? Because this was a bellman. He has a wife. He's an adult, but I guess maybe bellboys aren't just. I was going to say bellboys just aren't underage, kids running around hotels. No, they're usually adults. He meets this guy and he hears a little more about the everything that happened in Gorham, where Tarfin lands a ship. They didn't want to move. Basically, what happened was these people were protesting. They're like, "We don't want you to land here," and he's like, "I'm going to land here anyway." Smush y'all, and that's where they put the. They built a memorial there, right in the center of town, because that's where it happened. And the bellboy's like, "My dad died there. We went there. My dad died there. My wife thinks I'm crazy. Look how far I haven't gotten anywhere. I'm working right here, looking at it. My wife thinks I'm crazy and I'm still here, but I guess he loves Gorham." And you see off in the distance, you see the building they're building. They're convinced it's an armory. They say they have good intel, and we'll get to that. And Andor's just not convinced that they're able to do anything. They're like, "Yeah, sure, you can hijack these transports that you claim have weapons on them because you think this is an armory, even though you have no real proof yet, full proof. But then what? How do you get away? How do you do this? You guys aren't prepped for this." And he's like, "Tell your friend," which was Luthen, "I'm not impressed." So he isn't. Andor is being more like hesitant. He's being a little more, I can't even think of the word now, but he's being precautious? Not precautious, just cautious. He's being more cautious about this whole thing, and he's thinking, I don't think this is, this is what you want to do. I'm not sure you're ready for that yet. I'm not sure you're prepped for that yet, and I don't think you should do it. And they're like, "We need to do this. These transports are coming in. We have this data." But it doesn't sound like Andor. It seems like Andor's probably going to say, "All right, I will help you." But he isn't there yet. I do like that he gets to town. He goes to this restaurant, and he meets what we know is the daughter of the head of the front. And they're speaking space French, or she's speaking space French. And I love their little conversation where it kind of goes from we're just 2 people talking about fashion to leading into kind of why they're really there, but not being clear for us. Like, we know what they're saying, so we can read between the lines, but still with enough of a plausible deniability that if they were being bugged, they're just talking about stuff. But I do like when all the people got up and left. So she had everyone in there kind of covering, like watching him. And I liked when he said, "Have your people who are following me stop." He goes, "They're drawing more attention to themselves." And it shows that he has a leg up on all of them, which I liked. Now, that's kind of Andor's full story, but when he goes to that travel person in the beginning, that's when he's like, "I have friends everywhere." I'm not going to tell you anything. I'm not even going to tell you why I'm going. No one needs to know. Everything is on a need-to-know basis, and you don't need to know, lady. So that's kind of everything Andor does, I think, in this episode. At least that's what I got out of it, and I just finished watching it. Now, the Gorm Front has this information. Why? Because Sylvan gave it to them. Now, they think that they have him. And sometimes I'm thinking, wait, do they have him? Like, is he in the palm of their hands? But no, he gave them this information as kind of a double cross to them, full well knowing, or full well, giving the Empire everything they need. He's letting them know everything they're doing to get infiltrated even more. It's very much a Donnie Brasco situation. He's Donnie Brasco. So he's going to walk around, he's going to go, "Let's forget about it." And the guy, I couldn't think of anything besides forget about it. I also could have said The Departed, but I don't know. You're going to chop me up and feed me to the poor. I'm going on a tangent. But again, it's 7:30 in the morning, and it's, I'm just getting my cup of coffee. It's kind of just activating in my system. So where was I? He went back to Didra's. Now he doesn't want to be followed, so they're kind of being careful about him being followed back to his girlfriend, his lover, his fiance, whatever you want to call her, his partner. And I mean, I don't want to say we had our first Star Wars. We didn't have our first Star Wars sex scene, but we had our first, like, the space whoopee is about to go down, and it just with the term "turn off the lights," and he gets this look like, "What's that now? Turn off the lights." And I was like, "Uh-oh." I mean, not uh-oh, but uh-oh. And then, of course, you'd think like, bow, bow, bow. That's my international music cue for, I believe they made Space Love. He also connected with his mother. He went back to see her because he's in Coruscant, and brings her a spider. Now, why did he... Oh, the only reason he got the spider was so that he could pay the guy in the square with the information. So it looks like he's giving them money, but he's actually giving them information with the shipping stuff on it. He did that fully in full knowledge of the Empire, and he told, Dedra's supervisor there, the guy from Game of Thrones, who I really like his delivery. There's so many people, the way they talk, I just like their delivery in the show. Like their accents, the way their voices, all I quite enjoy. And he's one of them. And he's like, "Excellent work, Cyril." I feel like I'm saying the name wrong, but it is Cyril, right? He's excellent work, and the guys actually had the funniest moment. He goes, would it be weird that this is the greatest moment of my life, the greatest day of my life? It's funny because we come at this with the historical perspective, in the storyline, that Rebels good, Empire evil. It's the evil Empire. I mean, that's the evil Empire. They have the evil theme. They have Darth Vader. They have the Emperor Palpatine themselves. I mean, these guys are mean. They've got they're evil. Siths. And yes, we know that's all happening. We know that's all true. But when you look at this guy, he's just a guy who's worked for his government his entire life. Worked for his, maybe it's for policing, or now in this more bureaucratic sense, and he loves working for his government, and he sees people fighting the government, like these rebels and Andor, Axis, all that stuff, as bad people, terrorists, whatever you want to call them, working against him, the good guys, on the side of the right, like the right side of history. That's what he's seeing it as, even though we know as a whole they're not on the right side of history. They are suppressing And we see what they're doing. And actually, I say this, but, when I say, that they think they're doing the right thing, no, they see that they're going to this planet. It's so secretive. Dedra sees that they're going to this planet basically to suck it dry of its resources, screw the people, screw the planet, screw the animals, screw everything. If the planet explodes, oh well, as long as we get our, space element, we don't care. I don't know if Cyril sees this. I don't know if he knows this as well. So is there a chance someday that he flips? Part of me hope so. A big part of me hopes so because I like him. I know we're not supposed to like him. I know he's always, like, even in the first season, he's the guy you try to get, Andor, but I still like him, and I've always liked him. I've liked the character. I like the actor. It's just that he's on the wrong side. That's just the way it is. I think when you think back of shows like Game of Thrones, where you see these people who you hate, they're on the wrong side. You're rooting for this side, but then all of a sudden you're like, wait a second. No, you see a perspective, and you're like, wait, I'm rooting for them now. I'm not rooting for the Empire. That's not what I'm saying. But him, he's not someone, and even with Dedra, they're not someone you want to see fully get their comeuppance. You do to a degree. You want Andor to win. You want the rebels to win, and we know they do. I say they do, but we get through movies, and there's still the shadow of an empire, and we see the sequel trilogy. So there's always something that's in the shadows of the empire, and but to a certain degree, we know that everything that Andor is working towards, has a very positive result for the rebels. But at the same time, we don't. They present Dedra and Cyril in such a way that you can't completely dislike them. It's like not quite rooting for them, but you're like hopeful that maybe they'll join our side. Something like that, maybe. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. We do see, so that's kind of everything I think with him. Oh, there's this whole scene with his office being bugged, and it was being bugged. Now, it's being bugged by the front, correct? And we see a woman there. We see her looking very suspicious, holding something. So she obviously knew about this. I would assume Cyril knew about this too, because remember he went through this whole secretive. He went to a special room to contact Dedra at one point because he probably had full knowledge he was being bugged, and he has to play dumb to the part of the Empire because, again, this is such a secret mission that they don't realize that this is, okay, I could be wrong, but he is being bugged. He knows he's being bugged. He has to pretend he doesn't know he's being bugged so that the Empire gets upset, or, the Imperial Guard or whatever it is gets upset, fixes everything, but he has to play dumb at the same time. He knows it's happening, and he is completely being, pretending to be angry about it for the Empire, even though secretly we know that he's, it's all part of a giant plan, and for the front, so that they don't realize that he realizes what's going on and he's double-crossing them. I think, right? Yeah. So I think that's everything with them. With Luthen, speaking of bugs, a lot of very bug heavy. We have bugs in the office. We have bugs hidden in artifacts that Luthen delivered to the father of the groom. We have literal bugs with the friggin' spiders that, real spiders, and then candy spiders that Cyril brought to his tiny mother. So there's a lot of bugs because Luthen's big thing is his partner, assistant, whatever you want to call it, number 2. She combs through all her listening devices for something. something of interest. And I kind of love her setup. It's like a DJ booth. She's spinning records, trying to get to the right frequency. But I was like, I want to watch. Like, okay, you plug this in, you twist this, you do that. I mean, it's probably a lot of nonsense. But I'd love the actual, like, working. How does that work? Like, to see it function. I don't know. I love a lot of this, the physical, like, analog technology that is used in this series and a lot of Star Wars series. So she's twisting about and she, spinning this, plugging that, and she overhears that, this is a forgery, this, and I need to have everything swept out because did they find a bug or they found it was a forgery? No, I don't think they found a bug. They thought it was a forgery, so they want everything to be cataloged and checked and rechecked because he's pissed about that. And that's when they're going to find the bug. So Luthen's really freaked out about that. And they said, listen, this is how it is. And he's like, how did you talk me into this? I think he was blaming her. She's like, you okayed it. There's a party, and they need to go to this party, and that's their one chance to clear the bug. Of course, there's a chance. I mean, this is television. It's not like, let's just have this swept right now. We're doing it. We found the bug. No, we're going to do this. But we're going to do this after this party, probably because they want everything to be looking cool at the party. So it gives them a chance to go to the party and take the bug. So that's probably going to be in the next episode. But Luthen does that. And I think the only other thing he does is go and visit Bix. He visits her, he checks on her, and am I correct that he has up something for her? He talks about the safe house, and he talks about how this isn't the greatest place to be. It's got a great view, but you can go crazy staying here. I stayed here a couple times myself, and he seemed like he had something for her, but he wants her to get healthy. He needs her, at full capacity, basically. And he sees the drug, and she's like, I only take it to sleep. He's like, yes, but it lasts for a while. But then the dreams come back, and they come back worse when you stop using it. So he knows she's on this drug. I doubt Andor does. And really, that's kind of it that goes there. But Bix, we see another shot of her. She basically is what happens to me when my wife goes away anywhere. It's been a while, but like my wife, years ago, she went on a cruise with some of her girlfriends. Or a few years later, she went down, or maybe it was a few years earlier, she went down to Atlanta to visit a childhood friend that moved down there with her family. And when she's gone, it's not like I'm this guy who goes, my wife's out of town, let's party, go out with my friends, and let's go, to the bars, and let's hang out, and let's go to Boston, let's go here, let's go for a pub crawl, let's drink till I'm sick. And he's like, no. When my wife goes away, I think the craziest thing I did was go candlepin bowling by myself. That was thrilling. And then I get Taco Bell, and then I catch up and I lie down on the couch. It's kind of what I'm doing right now. So it's kind of not that different than my regular life, except there's more junk food. And so I picture myself lying there like, and then my wife will call, a text. Oh, I'm glad you're having fun. Yes, I'm walking the dog. I'm going to go walk the dog. Walk her right to the Taco Bell drive-thru. So seeing her lie there, I'm like, yeah, I could see that. You just kind of get no motivation. You're like, I don't want to do anything. And then you realize, I wasted all this time. I could have, I don't know, gone for long walks. I could have written the great novel. Instead, I watched another episode of Hell's Kitchen. Nothing wrong with that. But I see her watching some weird morning show with these two very over-the-top flamboyant women that reminded me sort of something out of the Star Wars holiday special, and it was like basically the Today Show meets Star Wars, and she's just watching it in the background. She looks like she's kind of, just out of it, but she's on a mattress on the floor, holding her blaster, waiting. Even when the doorbell rang and it was Luthen, she's like, blast her first, until he knocked. Then she was like, anyone who knocks is fine. It seemed really like that was the option there. So that's kind of it with Bix. And then we saw, what's his name? Young man. What the heck is his name? He's that young man. Willman. He's with Saw Gerrera. So I know I talked about this, but maybe I didn't fully understand. He has some machine that can plug into some sort of valve to be able to extract fuel, but he has to teach this dude how to do it, and he can't leave. I'm not even sure who sent him. I'm assuming Luthen sent him there, and he can't leave until he teaches them how to do it. He's like, I'm supposed to be here for a day. That was the last episode. He's like, you'll leave. I can't do it. So you'll leave when I want you to. And so a lot of this episode, he is teaching this dude how to do everything. And you're like, oh, he's learning. He's getting there. This is nice. The guy seems to be, figuring it out. But there's like 7 variations on how to do something. And finally, Saw's like, oh, you can do this one. We'll go to this special place. That's where we're going. And you can figure that one out. It's like, great, I can learn that. So he's like, I learned it. Saw's like, good. Shoot you in the face. Bam. Kills that guy. Turns out he was a spy. And he was sending everything back to the Empire. And now the Empire thinks they're going there, when they're really going someplace else. So now they need Willman to do it completely because he's the only one. He's like, all right, you're up, kid. I don't know what the heck this is. I don't know what this is. It's some sort of fuel that you're not supposed to breathe in, I guess. So, but Saw loves it, breathes it in. He kind of grew up on it when he was working as a slave, I think. And he grew accustomed to it. It kind of burns you, but he grew, I don't know, like an immunity to it, I guess. And now Willman did too. So maybe the stories of that it actually kills you is overreaction, and really you're just kind of you just need to build up and kind of deal with it, and you'll be fine. That's my guess, because Willman figures it out, gets everything working. And Saw goes right up and starts breathing in. And he's like, what are you doing? He's like, dude, you just do it. He takes his gas mask off, and now he breathes it in. I don't know what's going on there. But that was the end of the episode. Like, that was how it ended. I'm like, I guess this is important, I suppose. It's cool to see Forrest Whitaker. But I don't know what they're stealing. Their fuel, unlimited fuel. I do like that they fly X-Wings. And we got a little shot of X-Wings going off into space and some hyper speed, light speed, ludicrous speed, but ludicrous speed's too slow sometimes. But I do like that we got a little shot of that. Got some space action. But I don't know what the big outcome of them stealing fuel is. Now it might lead to something that leads. Oh, this goes right into what they were doing in Rogue One. It's been a while. In fact, I feel like after I finish this season, the first thing I should do is watch Rogue One again. I've seen that I've only seen Rogue One 3 times, I think. I saw it in the theater. I remember standing up and giving a standing ovation by myself. I mean, I was with a group of people, but I was the only one who stood up, and they're like, shut up, sit down. Then I saw it again when I watched it again for, I think I watched all the Star Wars movies again for Last Jedi, and then again for Rise of Skywalker. But I haven't seen it since then, and I love it. I've always loved it, so I need to go back and watch it again. Because I wonder if what Saw's doing now is directly in relation to something that goes on in the movie. But I'm going to say no. And the reason I'm going to, everything I just said, I'm going to throw away, because we're still 3 years away from the Battle of Yavin. And I assume after tomorrow's episode, I assume tomorrow's group of episodes will be 2 years away, because by the time I get to, I still have one more episode after this, then I'm completely caught up. But then we have the next group, which I'm guessing is going to be another block and another 2 years away. And then the final 3 will be, 1 year away, which brings us to Star Wars and Rogue One. I think that's how it's going to be. It seems like it. It seems, I don't think I'm breaking any grand theories with that, because that seems to be where it's going, which I'm all for. I'm enjoying it. I like a year passes, and now what? Well, now what are they doing? And we kind of catch up along the way. We're not spoon-fed it. We're just given, this is obviously they've been working on something, and here's what they're working on. So I think I'm all set. I think I'm all done with the 5th episode. Bix hasn't left the house. Luthen went to check on her, and he's also worried about the bugs. Speaking of bugs, Cyril found one in his apartment, but I think he knew, in his office, but I think he knew it was there the whole time, because he is giving plans that it sounds like the plans actually need to be real too, so that they get a win, so that they continue going and they get in even deeper, because all of this is double crossing the Gorm front for the need of this insurgents, because in the long run they need the people and the government and everything to collapse so that the Empire can just swoop in and start mining the resources. So is the whole armory built just to kind of fight off this rebellion, and even though they know they can squash it, and then just kind of, all right, now we can swoop in and drill, baby, drill, I guess. Meanwhile, Andor is meeting with the front as well, and he's telling them, you guys aren't ready for this. And they're like, no, yes, we are. And, that's all part of Dedra's plan. You know, her plan was to get Cyril in more, and then to get Cyril into bed. That seemed to be her plan. And then lastly, we got Wilman, who is hanging out with Saw and his band of merry men, and I guess learning how to breathe in toxic fumes. That seems to be the ending of this episode, and I am one episode away to being completely caught up like the rest of you. The rest of you Andor viewers, you are only one episode ahead of me, and I am looking forward to watching that one probably later today or tonight or super early tomorrow, and then I'll be completely caught up. I put out all 4 episodes that I did so far yesterday, so I'm looking forward to getting this one up this morning and getting caught up, so that there's another 3 episodes to watch starting tomorrow. But that's for tomorrow, my friends. Until then, you can follow me on all the socials at Geek Mentality, except TikTok, which is Geek Mentality Mike. On Facebook, it's Fans Not Experts. On YouTube, it's Fans Not Experts, and that's because the website is fansnotexperts.com. I can't believe that my introduction did not include the fact that you're listening to The Mandalorian Man Presents Andor with Candor. I've been working on this pause, and I completely abandoned it at the beginning of this episode to talk about May the 5th, because that's what today is. Today is May the 5th, 2025. Star Wars fans, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for subscribing. I'll be back soon to talk about Episode 6, but until then, may the Schwartz be with you.
Let's go!
Fans Not Experts.